All right, so this is week 2, day 3, and this is literally the second most important video of this entire 12-week series. The most important video, like I said in that video, was the diet and basics. If you haven't already seen that one, I made that on day 2. All right, so this one here builds off of that video. This is getting into the details of the dieting. All right, so first of all, let's talk about how many pounds you should be aiming to lose a week. It's not unlimited, and I'll explain why. All right, here's the thing. If you got over 20 pounds of fat to lose, then you can aim for 2 pounds a week. If you have less than 20, let's say if you're getting down to you only got about 10 pounds to lose, you shouldn't aim for more than a pound a week. And if you're down where you only need to lose like 3 or 4 pounds, you're going to have to get even under a pound a week. And this is the reason why. If we got rid of all the fat on our bodies and we had 0 fat, we die. We need some fat to live. So because of this, our body won't let us just burn unlimited amounts of fat. It knows we need fat. Unlike muscle, you can lose all your muscle and still live. So here's what happens. If you start burning off fat too fast, your body will start burning off muscle instead. And so that's the difference between fat loss and weight loss. Excuse me. I still got a little bit of this cold. All right, so here's the thing. We always talk about weight loss, but really it's not weight loss, it's fat loss. Here's a little example I heard somebody say a long time ago. Would you like to lose 20 pounds in 15 minutes? Most people say, sure. All right, let me saw off your arm. All right, it sounds kind of stupid, but it makes a point. If you lost your arm, it's not going to make you look any better, but you'd lose a lot of weight right away. It's not about weight loss. It's the same thing with just losing weight. If you just lost muscle, you're not going to look any better at all. If you lose 50% fat and 50% muscle, it's not going to look better because you're just going to look like a smaller version of yourself. We're trying to look fit. So we need to prioritize burning fat. And like I was explaining, our body will only let us burn so much fat at a time. The more fat you have to lose, the more fat your body will allow you to burn. It's just like having a bank account. If you got way more money than you need in your bank account, you're going to let yourself spend a little more. But if you check your bank account and it's like you're down to your last, you're going to tighten up. It's the same thing your body does when the fat when you start having less fat to burn. All right. So because of that, like I said, if you have more than 20 pounds of fat to lose, you could aim to lose 2 pounds per week. If you have around 10 pounds or less, it's about a pound a week. In between 10 and 20, you can figure it out, like a pound and a half. And like I said, less than 5 pounds, now you got to start talking about just losing half a pound a week. All right, now here's the reason I'm trying to explain all this, because this comes into play when we're figuring out how much calories we should eat a day. All right, here's the thing. If we subtract 3,500 calories a week out of our diet, that'll be 1 pound of fat a week we'll lose. So if you're somebody who could lose 2 pounds a week, that's 7,000 calories a week we can take out of our diet. Now we'll look at it on a day-to-day basis. 500 calories a day subtracted from your diet is 3,500 calories a week. That'll be 1 pound of fat a week. So if you're in the area where you're only should be trying to lose a pound of fat a week, that means we need to subtract 500 calories a day out of your diet. If you can afford to lose 2 pounds of fat a week, that's 1,000 calories a day out of your diet. All right, now if you want to count calories, which I don't, so we're going to explain this both ways to do it. But if you do want to count calories, I used to do it, and honestly is the best way to do it. I'm just being lazy right now and trying to make it easier on myself. But if you're willing to track calories, this is how you do it. If you're a woman, you should take your goal body weight, and this is just a rough estimate, just to start, and I'll let you know what you do next. But if you're a woman, you take your goal body weight and multiply it by 10. So let's say you want to be 140 pounds. You would multiply 140 times 10. That's 1,400 calories. That's what you should be starting with a day. And like I said, this is just the starting point. I'll tell you what to do, how to figure it out from there. For men, if you want to track your calories and count every calorie you eat a day, take your goal body weight and multiply it by 15. So if you want to get to 190 pounds, 190 times 15, that's a little more difficult to figure out. That's under 3,000, 2,850 calories. That's what you should be eating a day. But like I said, this is just a starting point. And after this, I'm going to explain what you do if you don't want to count calories. But let's start with counting calories first. All right. So what you'll do is, look at the labels of everything you eat. If it doesn't have a label on it, you just Google it and you find out how much calories. Now be careful. it's going to say calories per serving. You're probably not going to be eating an exact serving. You got to figure out exactly how much of it you're eating and then figure out the per serving and how much you have. All right, so you track everything, you write everything down, you add it up, you keep a tally of it throughout the day. Make sure you're under your calories. The other thing you're going to want to be tracking also is protein, like I spoke about in the previous video. All right, that is inside of your calories. Make sure your protein calories, the grams of protein you eat, still keeps you under your calories for the day. Now, what you do from here going forward is I want you to weigh yourself every day. Some people will say weigh yourself once a week, but the only problem and the reason I don't like that, not saying it's a bad thing, but for me, the reason I don't like it is because the number, you'll see if you weigh yourself every day, you see the number fluctuates a lot. It could go up and down as much as 5 pounds. And it doesn't mean you gained 5 pounds of fat one day or lost 5 pounds of fat the next day. It just means some days you're holding more water than others. Other days you might have burned off more glycogen. That's the carbohydrate stores that are kept inside your muscle. Like I said, it's not about weight loss, it's about fat loss. Weight loss can go up and down wildly day to day because when we do a lot of exercise, we can burn off a lot of carbs. But as soon as we eat something, those are going to go right back into our muscle stores. We're not as concerned with that as we are with burning fat. So if you weigh yourself every day, you won't have to worry so much about these big fluctuations because you'll be used to it. And then you can get an average for the week of how much you weighed. And then you'll get a better idea of how much fat you actually lost. All right, so here's what you do. You weigh yourself every day. You get an average of how it's trending for the week. And if you're losing more than a pound, if you're trying to lose a pound, or more than 2 pounds, if you're trying to lose 2 pounds, then you just adjust. You'll add in a couple hundred calories on top of what you're already eating. If you're not losing enough, you'll subtract a couple hundred calories from what you're eating. And that's how you figure it out. Now, for the people who don't want to count calories, like me, myself, if you fall into the category of you're supposed to be losing a pound a week, you'll just try to subtract 500 calories out of your daily diet. You can also factor in the cardio that you're doing. So let's take a person like me, for example. I'm trying to lose a pound a week. So what I'll do is I'll subtract out 350 calories from food, and I'll subtract out 150 calories from the half-hour walk I do at night. Now, if you're trying to lose 2 pounds a week, you just double that, 1,000 calories a day. But let me get into this detail too. This is important. It doesn't have to be this way, like uniformly every single day, where it's every day 500 calories out or every day 1,000 calories out. You can mix it up, mix and match throughout the week. I'm sorry. A text message just came in. I got distracted. All right, so this is how I like to do it because some days I'm more hungry than others. So what you can do is some days I'll eat maintenance. So let's say that I normally eat like 3,300 calories a day or 3,500 calories a day. That's like a normal day for me. I'm over 200 pounds, 3,500 calories a day will pretty much keep me at maintenance. I won't lose or gain weight. So some days I'll eat that and I won't lose any weight, but I'm just more hungry than other days. Then on other days, I'll subtract out 1,000 calories instead of 500. So it still equals out to 500 calories a day subtracted out of the diet for a total of 3,500 calories subtracted out a week. So it doesn't matter. You could fluctuate it from day to day. All right. I think this kind of covered the details. If there's anything that I left out, I'll put it in the future videos. There's going to be a lot more tips and tricks and ways to subtract calories out and different methods people use. I'm going to tell you about different diets people use. Like me, myself, I love intermittent fasting. There's a bunch of different tricks. We're going to get into all of it. If you got any questions, comment below. Please leave a like to let me know you're riding with me. We got 11 weeks left. 4th of July weekend's coming. I'm telling you, I'm locked in. I'm motivated. And I'm glad I got people riding with me. So like I said, drop a comment, drop a like. Let me know you're riding with me. It helps keep me going. Let's go.